What is up, you guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to replace the torque converter on your TR690 transmission. So today we're going to be working on a 2015 Subaru WRX that had just a little over 250,000 miles on it. I'm going to be showing you all the steps it takes to replace the torque converter and all the seals and the part numbers and everything you need. So stick to the end of the video and I'll show you how to replace it. Okay, so as you can see, I've already done most of the dirty work, which is removing the motor. I will be making another video showing you how to reinstall the engine back in. If you need to know how to pull the motor out, just watch the video in reverse and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to figure it out. It wasn't too difficult to pull out. But I will be showing you all the seals, the O-rings, everything you need to replace, and the new torque converter. I have the new fresh one right here, and this was the old one with 250,000 plus miles on it. I was having problems it's stalling in gear, so it threw a torque converter code and a valve body code, and I have another video on the valve body that is also going to be up showing how to replace the valve body inside the TR690 transmission. All right, let's get started. Okay, so obviously starting now from engine being out, you'll have the torque converter will be in facing, the flat side will be facing you with the little nub on the end. This part will be facing towards the inside of the transmission. Once you have the engine out and the torque converter sitting there, it'll just slide right off. You can pull it right off. There will be a little excess fluid that dropped because it is filled with fluid, so just have like a rag or something underneath, and then go ahead, pull that out, set it aside. Have the new one ready. When we go to reinstall the new one, I'm going to show you, we're going to put at least a quart of CVT fluid in to kind of prime it and not start it dry. So there's two seals, actually a seal and an O-ring, that needs to be replaced on this half of it. Mine was actually leaking. This oil seal right here was leaking, and I thought it was the differential that was leaking, the drain bolt, but it was actually that seal that was just old. So you have to replace this seal and this O-ring right here, and then you can go ahead and pop the new torque converter back in. Okay, and I'm going to be listing all the part numbers in the description, as well as I'll show you here on video. This is the part number for the 2015 WRX TR690 oil seal. This was the old one that I already pulled out. I got it out with a flat blade screwdriver, something like this. You just have to be very careful not to gouge the metal on the inside. If you gouge it, it'll probably start leaking, so just be cautious when you pull it out. It's probably going to be tight depending on how old the ring is, so just take your time with it. And then I'll have the part number for the O-ring in the description. Okay, so I went ahead and popped in the fresh seal. You just want to be careful. You can go ahead and stick a flat blade screwdriver down at an angle in to go ahead and pull it out. Just be careful not to gouge the inner metal because it is aluminum and the screwdriver will damage it, and then you can start a new leak, and then you'll end up having to replace this whole oil pump cover. But went ahead and replaced that and the O-ring, so now we're ready to go ahead and fill up the new torque converter with a quart of fluid, and we'll go ahead and reinstall this into the car. There's three different things that you have to line up when installing. So there's going to be three different places that have to perfectly align for it to slide on, so you're just gonna have to play with it, wiggle it around until it gets on, but I'll go ahead and show you. I'm gonna go ahead and be installing this AMSOIL CVT. It is now approved for all Subaru transmissions, high torque, non-high torque, the 580 and the 690. This just is a little bit of a better option for, I would say, like a higher mileage transmission, just because the Subaru fluid, it will work, but it is thinner and it doesn't lubricate as well as this does with like older seals and older transmissions. So I will be using this on this trans since it's over 250,000 plus with the internal parts. We're gonna go ahead and fill this torque converter 1 full quart. All right, guys, so what we're gonna wanna do here is we're gonna wanna pull the cap off, and we're gonna wanna put a full quart of CVT fluid in this. There's different ways. You can move it around to get the CVT fluid to go in there faster. I found this way to do the best. I'll show you right now. So you're just gonna take it, gonna pour it. It's gonna fill up. Get it like pretty close to the top. And most people put it and start spinning it. That for me wasn't working. So I went ahead and tilted it and just kind of like burped it. And that seems to be the best way. It's been working for me. I'm almost about 80% of the bottle in, and it's still taking it. So I think this holds about like 2 or 3 quarts, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure, but it should easily hold 1. So go ahead, when it goes down, simply do it, just refill it. And same thing again. Just different directions. So as you can see, it's all just gonna slowly start burping itself all the way down until all the fluid gets in. That's a full quart now of CVT fluid in. So this bottle's empty. So a full quart should be good, just so that you're not gonna be starting it dry. It has some fluid to prime with. But we're gonna be putting this now, sliding it on to the transmission. You just have to go slow, make sure everything aligns, make sure it seats properly. That way, when the engine comes back in, everything will seat up just nice. All right, you guys, we're in the engine bay now. I think it'd be easier like this just because it's really heavy. So to be in the engine bay is a little bit nicer instead of working over the front of the car where the hood is. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the torque converter. I'm gonna slip it on and align the grooves, and it should sit just flush with the bell housing. It should like protrude like barely anything, like 0.6 of a millimeter or something. But let's go ahead and slide this on. It's super heavy, so take your time. Okay, so now it's kind of on the shaft. Okay, so we got it past one of the splines. Now we have to align another. Okay, there goes that one. Remember, this is still not seated. It needs to be completely flush, so we'll know when we are fully seated. All right, guys, so we went ahead and I got the torque converter all seated. Believe me, this was super duper hard to get. It's gonna click 3 times. You're gonna get it past the first 2 real easy, and it's gonna be sticking out probably about that much. It needs to be almost nearly flush. You can see it sticks out just barely. So that last 3rd click is the most challenging part. Took me a little under, I'd say 45 minutes just playing with it. So once I got it in, I just wanted to make sure I secured it around the starter hole with the zip tie, just to make sure that this thing's not going to come back out, because you do not want to be fighting that again. Okay, so now motor is ready to put back in. I'm going to go ahead and throw this on the stand right now, and we will be ready to put that back in. You're going to want to refill the trans. The filled trans bolt is going to be this one right here. Remember, we did take just over 7 quarts out. It's probably only going to take probably 6, because that's the capacity right here. When you run the engine, it'll suck the fluid in. You're going to want to get the engine up to operating temperature, which is, I believe, like 93 degrees. It's between 93 and 105 or 6, which is before you start shifting through the gears. So fill it up till it's coming out. Has a slow stream. It'll have a slow stream. That's how you know it's filled. Go ahead and put the fill plug back in. Start the vehicle. Ensure that there's no leaks under here. Everything's good. And then you're going to want to wait until it reaches about 93 to about 106 degrees Fahrenheit, until you reopen it. Pump more fluid in, because it's going to be sucking the fluid in. So you're going to want to pump more fluid until it starts the stream again. Go ahead and put the bolt back in and start shifting through the gears. You don't have to give it any throttle, just back and forth. Like, do it about like 2 times, back and forth. Come back, unscrew that, refill it until it starts coming out in a small stream. Once the stream stops, go ahead and re-plug it back in, and you should be pretty well off. I will be showing you another video on the programming of the transmission, the relearn, but just to get everything flowing and all the fluids started, that's the procedure you're going to want to do for refilling the trans. We're going to be doing the engine reinstall in the Subaru WRX. We're going to go ahead and put this bad boy back on the crane, and we're going to lower her into the engine. So now we're ready to reinstall the motor back into the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it on the crane. I'm going to show you what points I used to put the crane on the motor, and then how I'm going to be lowering the engine into the engine bay. I'm going to show you how I have my engine hoist set up. I got this from Harbor Freight. It's the 1 ton. So I have it see on the AC brackets here in the front, and right here, these 2 bolts above the, I believe it holds the intercooler, if I'm not mistaken. And then I went ahead and bought one of these right here, just to make life easy. You can change the pitch of the motor based on however you put your inputs, but makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, lowering the motor, it's just take your time. You just want to make sure that you're clearing everything, make sure you're not in the way of anything. These dowel pins have to clear the trans, so as we lower, we're going to pull it more to the front. We have a lot of space here, so it's just working it all the way down until you get it all the way down. Here, I mean, we have AC lines we're trying to stay clear of, fuel lines. So you're just going to work it all the way down until you get flush. These are going to be our lineup points right here on the motor. They're going to go bolt down to the bottom of the trans right there. That's what lines everything up. And the trans, you should be able to work it and push it and slip it in. Before you do that, make sure if you did put a zip tie, you're going to cut that zip tie off. And once the motor is in, have the trans bolts ready. You're going to want to slip a couple of those in just to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. So be ready for it, and just take your time.